Back Christian here, and tonight we're going to talk about my encounter with the Moth Man. Now, a lot of people have talked about the Moth Man, and I'm not generally into cryptids. I'm not into Bigfoot. I'm not into these things generally. I'm not that kind of person. But what I am is the kind of person that will do some ginseng hunting, or do some mushroom hunting, or do some camping. And I'm the kind of guy who will go up on the side of a mountain and be up there for days at a time and do what I gotta do to get what I gotta get. And this is a story about how I was doing that, and I ran into what they know as the Moth Man. Now, I never believed in no Moth Man. I'd read about it in the past, and about New Jersey, is it Jersey, the Jersey Devil, and the things they talk about there. I didn't really know a whole lot about it, but I'd read a few things here and there. But anyway, my story goes like this. It was, seems about 2016, and it was late October. And I was doing some ginseng hunting, and I was to be set out, and I was going to be out about 3, maybe 4 days. And I had somebody that was willing to go with me, and he had been watching his videos and watching his survival shows and whatnot, and he claimed that he was a survivalist, if you will, which I had never claimed to be. I'm just backwoods redneck. But anyway, so we get dropped off and we head on up the mountain. And it takes us a while to get up there, you know. I mean, I'm talking a while to get up the elevation. Until we're ready to stop and camp and we're really away from people far enough to actually start finding something. I mean, it takes a while. So we hike up through there, and it's probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours later. We finally find a spot. We get camped down for the night. We're hanging out, and I don't bring a whole lot when I go do these little expeditions that I do. And if you're somebody who does any sang hunting, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I take just enough that I can get where I need to go and collect what I need to collect and come on out there, because when you're climbing up big mountains, you don't need a bunch of extra stuff. I mean, this is not a camping trip. We're surviving out here. So I got a little rain fly, and I got my ditch dug around us, and I build a little fire with a little hearth, and we cook some beans, and we hang out for the night. And actually that night went pretty good. Nothing really happened that night. When we woke up that next morning, I just find this hilarious, because this fella is so adamant about being a survivalist and all this stuff. Like I said, I'm not a survivalist, I'm just a country boy. He wakes up in the morning and he tells me, I can do without a lot of things in this world. The one thing I can't do without is my bed. I'm calling my wife, I'm going home. And I was like, are you serious? But he did. He called his wife. He went back down the mountain. He never even got to dig the first root. So I said, all right, well, I'm by myself, no big deal. And I decided that I'm going to head up through the mountain and do what I do. Now, it was pretty dry that year, and I didn't bring a lot of water with me. It's not like I brought a bunch of bottled water or anything, but I did bring a filter. And I would just go from holler to holler. When I come across water, I'd just filter me some and throw it in a canteen and be on my way. Well, I started finding some ginseng, and I was doing all right. I was singing pretty good, and I had maybe half a pound of wet root in my pack, and I'd been, digging for 4 or 5 hours. Then I got into a way where I realized where I was at, there wasn't no water. And I mean, this stuff was high up there, guys. And so I'm up there in this high elevation. It's real craggy and rocky. Trying to keep my eye out for snakes. I'm finding bear poop as big around as apples. And there's chestnut trees everywhere. There's oak everywhere. Of course, poplar trees. If you've been to the Smoky Mountains, you know what that is. And I'm out here moving around, and I realized, like, there's this really good holler where I could probably set up for the night, and I'm digging like 3 and 4 prongs all the way down through this thing. I was doing really good. So I decided I'm gonna set me up a little camp that evening, and I get me some water, and I get me some supper going, and I'm hanging out. I've got maybe 3/4 to a pound of ginseng, wet ginseng in my bag, so I've made a little. And it was just so pretty. I just remember that year being really dry and really pretty. That was part of the issue with finding water, you know, of course, it'd been so dry. Well, I decided it was so pretty, and I was out there, and I was in the middle of nowhere, and I was by myself. I decided, you know what? I'm not going to put my rain fly up tonight. Now, keep in mind, I know this sounds hard to believe, but I didn't take a flashlight with me. And I remember setting up my little camp and getting my little beans going, having a peanut butter sandwich, hanging out, and it got dark. And I decided I was going to doze off, go sleep. Now, the stars are shining so bright, it's about like a nightlight. It's all I can do to get some rest. But I finally find my way to sleep. And I remember being woke up. It sounded like hooves on the ground. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Hooves on the ground, like. And I just remember when I woke up, like I didn't have a flashlight. Now, I did have a pistol with me, I will say that. I had a pistol. But I remember waking up thinking, damn, there's an elk up here, there's a deer up here, something's tromping around up here. But honestly, like the ground was just so steep, and I was confused. I was sitting on the ground, and this thing was above me because the ground is so steep. I was looking up like, what the hell? And then I heard it again. And it went to another side. And now it's over on my right side, and I'm sitting there, and I just don't know what to do. And I'm thinking, what is this thing doing? If this is a deer, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. What are you doing messing with me? So I grabbed my pistol out, and I cocked it, and I got it ready. Because I didn't hear no hell, I didn't know. Before you know it, that thing tromped back up the mountain again. Back up the mountain it went. And I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking, what the hell? And all of a sudden, I hear it go, shit! And I was like, what the hell was that? And it sounded like, all I could think of in my mind is like, this is a deer with a respiratory infection, or I didn't know what the hell was going on. All I know is there was something moving around. And I was starting to get pretty damn scared of what the hell was going on. I'm out there by myself. So I'm sitting there. And all of a sudden, that thing, and it comes over top of me, and it lands below me in the bottom of the hollow. And I'm freaked out at this point. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, this thing just went over top of me. I'm freaked. What kind of a deer runs over top of you and you don't know what the hell's going on? I'm sitting here thinking, is Santa Claus out here? Is Rudolph out here? Did Prancer get loose? What the hell's going on? Now keep in mind, in my defense, people, it is 3 o'clock in the morning. I did get woke up out of a dead sleep. I was sleeping pretty darn good. I was pretty tired. So I'm sitting there and I got my pistol. All of a sudden, that thing, now it's back above me. And it sounds just like hooves beating on the ground. And I take that pistol and I'm sitting there and I go, bah, bah, and I shoot 2 rounds off. And all of a sudden I hear it go, woohoo, woohoo. And I thought, oh my goodness. An owl? Now what kind of an owl do I have to be afraid of? I don't have any reason to be afraid of an owl. So I laid back down and I went to sleep. I didn't know any better. We laid back down and I went to sleep. I woke up the next morning and I started up through the holler. And I've got to be honest with you, I was digging some sign. There was 4-prongers all through that place. And as I moved up through there and I was digging my roots, I was all excited. And I remember getting to the top of that holler and the rocks were so steep. I remember thinking maybe there was like some caves or something around here, but I didn't want to go screwing around too much. I mean, we got rattlesnakes and all kinds of stuff out here. Mountain lions, stuff that I don't want to run across. Not to mention the bear. But anyway, I remember thinking, man, this is really beautiful up here. And I looked over and I heard, whoo, hoo, hoo. And I seen him. Guys, this bird had a 10-foot wingspan. It was as big as my wife, okay? This thing was fixing to eat me in the middle of the night, and I had no clue. Had I not had a pistol, maybe I would have been like the rest of them that are part of the story.